It was just past 3:45 a.m. when a quiet San Diego neighborhood turned into the site of an unimaginable tragedy. A Cessna Citation II jet, slicing through the dense coastal fog, clipped power lines before slamming into the Murphy Canyon residential area. Within seconds, flames engulfed a row of homes. Sirens screamed through the night, and by sunrise, the headlines had already begun. Private jet crash, rocks San Diego, multiple dead, homes destroyed. But this wasn't just another plane crash story. This was personal for a neighborhood, for families, and for an entire industry. On board the jet were 6 people, all of them presumed dead. Among them, Dave Shapiro, a high-profile music talent agent and co-founder of Sound Talent Group, and Daniel Williams, the former drummer of metalcore band The Devil Wears Prada. They were flying from Teterboro, New Jersey, stopping in Wichita before heading towards San Diego's Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. But they never made it, and now what should have been a routine landing has become one of California's deadliest private aviation disasters in recent years. The plane crashed directly into a home. It was instantly obliterated. 10 other houses sustained severe damage. Vehicles parked along the street caught fire. The flames stretched through the military housing neighborhood, forcing over 100 residents to evacuate. 8 people on the ground were injured, some critically. But the full emotional toll, the fear, the confusion, the loss can't be measured in numbers. Eyewitnesses describe hearing a low roar followed by a thundering impact. "It felt like an earthquake, but louder," said one resident. Another described the blaze as a wall of fire moving down the street. The scene was chaos. First responders battled not just the flames, but the fog thick, soupy fog that had settled in for the night, making visibility almost impossible. And that may be part of the reason this happened. Initial reports suggest the plane may have attempted a visual approach with no tower communication, not unusual for Montgomery Gibbs at that hour. But combine that with poor visibility and low altitude, and it becomes a perfect storm. The jet clipped power lines just before the crash, according to preliminary FAA notes. That moment may have sealed the fate of everyone on board. As the flames died down and the daylight exposed the full wreckage, investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board arrived on the scene. Burnt debris was scattered across rooftops and driveways. Twisted metal, once a luxury business jet, now lay embedded in the heart of a suburban street. The NTSB quickly cordoned off the area, launching a full investigation alongside the FAA. But even as the investigation began, the questions spread faster than the smoke had. Why was a private jet flying into a non-towered airport in low visibility conditions? Was there a mechanical failure? Did the pilots miscalculate their descent? Or did the dense fog completely blind them at the most critical moment? For now, officials are cautious. There's no final answer, just pieces of a broken aircraft, voices of stunned residents, and 6 lives lost far from where they were supposed to land. Among those lives, the names carry weight. Dave Shapiro wasn't just a businessman, he was a power player in the music scene. Known for launching and managing tours for dozens of rock and metal bands, he had long been a force behind the scenes, the kind of agent who shaped careers and booked arenas. His death sent shockwaves through the music industry. Social media tributes poured in from bands, tour managers, and fans, all expressing disbelief, heartbreak, and gratitude. Daniel Williams, once the drummer for The Devil Wears Prada, had taken a step back from the spotlight in recent years. But to his fans, he remained a legend of the genre. Videos of his live performances are being reshared now, clips of his explosive energy behind the kit paired with emotional captions. Rest in power. Gone too soon. Their deaths have turned the crash into more than just a tragic headline. It's become a moment of collective mourning for the music world, for the San Diego community, and for the families who now face the impossible task of saying goodbye. In Murphy Canyon, recovery is just beginning. Displaced residents are staying in shelters and hotels. Donations and support have begun to pour in from across the city. Firefighters and emergency crews who responded that night are still processing what they saw: a neighborhood torn open by a freak aviation disaster that no one could have predicted. And yet, there's a quiet, growing fear behind it all. Could it happen again? Murphy Canyon isn't a place people usually associate with danger from the sky. It's a peaceful, residential neighborhood, home to many military families, just a few miles from downtown San Diego. But now, it's part of a growing national conversation about flight paths, about airport proximity, about what happens when private aviation intersects with public life in the worst possible way. The Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport, though relatively small, handles hundreds of private and business jets every month. It's efficient, it's convenient, but it lacks the 24/7 control tower presence of larger airports. For years, there have been whispers of concern about noise, about flight safety, about homes too close to final approach paths. After this crash, those whispers are turning into demands. City officials are already facing pressure to review flight protocols to investigate if Montgomery Gibbs is equipped to handle this type of traffic, especially during off hours or in low visibility conditions. Some are even calling for the relocation of incoming flight paths entirely. For residents who watched flames devour homes just feet from their bedrooms, the message is clear: this can't happen again. But while investigations will continue for months, for many, the story of this crash has already become something more than a safety issue. It's a story about fragility, how quickly ordinary life can be interrupted, how one aircraft, one malfunction, one misjudged approach can change lives forever. As the music world mourns its own and San Diego begins to rebuild, the memory of that night will linger. The sound of impact, the wall of fire, the silence after. These are the images residents can't unsee. And while headlines will fade and investigators will move on, the families of the victims, of the displaced, of those who ran outside barefoot into the chaos will carry the weight of May 22nd for the rest of their lives. This wasn't just a crash, it was a rupture in the sky, in the street, and in the lives of everyone it touched. And now, as officials look for answers, all that's left are pieces of a jet, the scent of smoke still hanging in the air, and the chilling reminder that tragedy doesn't give warnings. It just comes, and when it does, it leaves nothing unchanged.